Scott Shue, and this is my persuasive speech. Today, I'm going to be telling you why the NFL should not change the overtime rule. Sudden death in the NFL is one of the most exciting things to watch, and this is because of the overtime rule. I've done a lot of research looking at both sides, studying them both, and I can't come up with one good reason why we should change this. And after you hear this speech, I'm sure you will agree. According to the NFL rulebook, when a regular season game or a playoff game ends in ends in a tie, the two teams' captains, home and away, will meet in the center at the 50-yard line with the referee, where he will have a coin. He will toss this coin up in the air, and the visiting team's captain will call heads or tails. When the referee picks it up and tells if it's heads or tails, whoever wins gets to pick if they want to kick or receive, which you would always want to receive. Because the problem with this is that people believe that whoever wins the coin toss is going to automatically win the game. This is because whoever scores first in overtime wins automatically, even if the other team doesn't get a chance to score. That's where people think this is an unfair advantage. What needs to happen is that those who are opposed of the NFL rule need to just accept it. The leaders and officials who are against it need to just realize how good this rule is and how fun it makes the game, and just leave it be. One main reason why we should not change it is because of tradition. This rule came into effect in the early 1970s, and it has been going strong. And excuse me, there hasn't been many instances where this rule has screwed up any games. Yes, there has been times where the team who won the coin flip drove down the field and scored and did not give the other team a chance to win. But many, many other times, that has not happened. According to Skip Wood, according to Skip Wood of USA Today, he says that this is because, of course, both teams don't necessarily get a chance to score. Correctly call the coin flip, take the ball first and score, and the game is over. What he's pretty much saying is that you're fighting the whole game, you're playing your heart out, and why should that change in overtime? Let's not argue about this, let's do the rule, let's flip the coin, make the right or wrong choice, whichever it may be, do your job. If you're on defense, stop the offense. If you're on offense, beat the defense. This is just like the beginning of the game. This graph shows the stats of the regular season overtime in the year 2007. On the very far left, you have the games won by the team who won the coin toss on the first possession. In the middle, this is the winners of the toss, but they did not win on the first possession. And on the right, this is the non-winner of the toss. The graph I just showed you clearly proves that this rule is not one-sided. With only 7 of the 15 games in 2007 being won on the first drive of the first possession of the team who won the toss, that's less than 50%. So I don't see where there should be any conflict at all with this rule. Another reason why we should keep this is because it makes the game so much more exciting, and with this rule, it makes the game a lot more unique. The uniqueness and excitement makes me watch every week, all 16 weeks, and throughout the playoffs. Ethan Atsales of the LA Times says, "This is what a team should do if it loses the coin toss in overtime. It's not too complicated. Stop the other team and force a punt. That strategy applies to the entire game. Why should it be different in overtime? Football is a game of offense and defense, and despite people's complaints of the 5 overtime playoff games since 2004, the team that won the toss is 1-4. Ethan is pretty much saying what I have said previously. You're playing the game in regulation, either win it in that or go to the sudden death and win it in there. Since 2004, only 25% of the games were won on the first possession. This is not something that we should be worried about. The NFL should put a stop to all votes and discussions about this sudden death overtime rule and move on to more important things like maybe steroids. This overtime rule is not hurting anyone, and like I've been stressing, this is making the game more exciting. I love when the game goes into overtime and we get to see the coin toss and people fight to win the game. Even though I am a fan of the overtime rule, as you can see, I'm a fan of the Indianapolis Colts. And just this past season, they made it to the playoffs. They had to go into overtime because the score was tied at the end of the game. And they were playing the San Diego Chargers. The Chargers ended up winning the coin toss and driving down the field and eventually scored on a 22-yard run and ended the game and the season. I was very disappointed, but I love the rule. According to John Clayton, a ESPN.com sports writer, he says, NFL Competition Committee Chairman Rich McKay, speaking on a national conference call, said there will be no adjustment to the current overtime rules. The committee met for 10 days in Naples, Florida, and after consulting players and conducting a league-wide survey of the 32 clubs, there was not enough support to make any proposal to change the current overtime rules, which were created to minimize the chance of ties. I was really glad to hear that. Every single year it seems like that they have to have votes and they have to have discussions up in the higher NFL chairman, and every year it comes out the same. Just recently, as I stated, John Clayton wrote on ESPN.com that they will not be changing this rule in 2009-2010 season. This is one of the best decisions that they can come up with, and I'm sure this will make everyone happier because of excuse me, the many reasons on why we should change it has not satisfied anybody one bit. So, like I said, with tradition, with it being in the game for so long now, and us not having any problems, maybe only 25 to 50% of the games are only being won on the first correct coin toss and driving down on first possession, it has to stay the same. And with the excitingness and the uniqueness of this rule, it just makes the game more exciting, and I know people will tune in more, and they hope to see an overtime sudden death game. I hope if this comes into discussion with your family, friends, or whoever, that you will agree that this rule needs to stay the same. I hope that you persuade them that this rule should stay intact and we should never even bring up to get rid of the rule ever again. I really hope you enjoyed my speech. I hope you have a great day. Thanks again.